All right, guys, today we're talking hazmat whiskey. Yeah, it has to be over 140 proof. Now, this is not your grandpappy's whiskey, right? Is hazmat whiskey the holy grail, or is it just a liquid punch in the face? Let's find out. All right, as you guys well know, whiskey, whenever you make whiskey, you put it into a barrel and you age that said whiskey for an indeterminate amount of time, 2 years or more. It's straight, right? Well, what I have for you here is a little sample, and we're not deep diving this bottle or anything. This is a sample of Corbin Cash. They're out of California. This is a single barrel pick from Take T8KE, if you guys know him. This is a 9-year-old from Tracy. Thank you very much. 142 proof. So, how does it get to 142 proof, and why does it get to 142 proof? Let's talk about that. Now, hazmat whiskey is the new craze, right? This is the thing that everybody wants. Everybody seeks it out, myself included. And why? Is it more flavor, or is it just an overindulgence of proof? So, first off, let's get into the glass and we'll talk a little bit about not Corbin Cash, but hazmat whiskey. Now, this is a rye whiskey. It is bright, shiny, but the ethanol is already pushing through. You can't get fully into the glass. Now, this is the first drink of the day, but you can't get fully into the glass. But there's a lot of really nice notes there. So, as you guys well know, when you put whiskey into a barrel, the maximum proof you can put it in at is 125. And that goes for rye or bourbon or single malt, however you want to do it. And what happens in some climates, the water evaporates off and leaves behind the alcohol. So when the water evaporates out through angel share, right, the proof goes up. There's some instances, like in Scotland and other places around the United States, where the proof actually goes down. So in the hotter climates, the drier climates, the proof can creep up substantially. Now, if you put a whiskey in a barrel at 125 proof, which is the maximum, it's only like 15 proof points to get to 140. Now, that is a lot, right? And this being a 9-year-old age-stated product, it's been in there for a long time. But here's what happens. When you take the water out of the alcohol, it leaves behind a lot of congeners, a lot of esters, a lot of flavor profile things. But it also ups the proof, right? Which is obvious, right? But in that proof, it gets more ethanol forward because there's more ethanol there. So the flavors are so concentrated. It's almost like if you were a cook and you were making a gravy or a demi-glace or a roux. You're basically concentrating those flavors, and you're just making a base of something, and it's just, if you ever get an extract, like even vanilla extract, it's an extract of vanilla. Does that make sense? So this is like almost a whiskey extract. Super cool. Let's go on the taste. Now, I will tell you, 142 proof whiskey is nothing to brag about, right? Just because you drink high proof whiskey, that doesn't make you a better whiskey person, right? It just shows there is a flavor differential. I love a good 45% whiskey, right? I do. It is a little watered down. I like my whiskeys normally between the 100 and 115. Although a lot of the whiskeys that I do have are 120 plus. So it really doesn't matter. It's all about flavor profile. And I will tell you that this Corbin Cash has so much flavor. The dark plum notes are just coming through, and there's so much spice. It's not spice from the rye, it's spice from the ethanol. So that could turn some people off. But there's a workaround with that. Also, obviously, training your palate, right? Which there's a difference between training your palate and burning it out. You don't want to go into a hazmat whiskey having never had high proof whiskey before. You want to go into a hazmat whiskey with the thoughts of, hey, I know this is going to be a thing, and you don't want to pour too much in the glass because you finish that. Let's say you had a 2-ounce glass, this entire 2-ounce sample in your glass. That would be like having 4 ounces of a regular whiskey, right? Does that make sense? So it's double the concentration of alcohol, give or take. You know what I'm trying to say. So that to me means proceed with caution. Now, why is it called hazmat? It's a good point. It is called hazmat because once it reaches 140 proof or 70% alcohol, it can no longer be put on an airplane. Yeah, it can't. You can't ship it overseas, obviously. And there's a lot of legalities to it, really. It's very flammable, obviously, because it's mainly alcohol. So if it's 70% alcohol, it's only 30% water and other congeners and stuff like that, but mainly water. The other downside to having a cast strength barrel proof hazmat whiskey is it does a lot more to your body. Okay. I know I don't want to be that guy, but it affects your liver that much more. And it affects your esophagus and your stomach that much more. It is hot. It is fiery. But if you can get past that, now I'm not condoning drinking hazmat whiskey on the regular. I am condoning trying it, getting a sample from somebody, trying some, and seeing if it's your profile. Now, I have quite a few bottles that are hazmat. I've gone through quite a few bottles that are hazmat. I drink them slowly. I drink them. But the other thing you want to do, and you know it, water. Now, you're either going to drink water before, have it in your palate when you drink that, or put a couple drops of water into your glass. Try it as it is, and then add a little bit of water. Because in doing that, you are opening it up. Now, you are diluting it, obviously, but you are opening the whiskey up. As it is right now, it is full strength. It's unabridged. It's almost angry at some times. I have had a couple of hazmats, very small samples of them, that are just too hot. There's just too much. There's no enjoyment there. If you can't enjoy the whiskey, why drink it? This is not a contest who can drink the hottest whiskey, right? This is not a contest. Go get a bottle of Everclear that's 95% alcohol and drink that then, if you really want to do it, and you'll be the winner. But it's not a contest, right? So drink good whiskey is all I'm trying to say. If a good whiskey just happens to be hazmat, so be it. But tread lightly, because the whiskey in the glass is deceiving for sure. Now I'm going to go back to it. Now that it's opened up a little bit, right? And I've got the flavors in my mouth. There's so much dark molasses and cherry from the oak, right? So what happens, again, going back to the barrel, it's a new oak barrel. So it's rich with all of these phenolins and flavor compounds that are in the wood. And as that alcohol, because this will get nerdy, but just stay with me. There are compounds in the wood that are water soluble, and then there are compounds in the wood that are alcohol soluble. And so the higher the alcohol content, the more those alcohol soluble congeners come out, which is more of the date, the raisin, the dark, rich molasses. Now, depending upon your char level, depending upon your toast level, obviously, but you're getting more of those dark, almost grungier notes coming from it. Where if you went in at 110, you're going to be pulling out more of the sugar, more of the wood sugar. This is getting more into the tannic, more even acrid parts of the whiskey, which some people really like. I enjoy it, but I don't drink hazmat whiskey all the time. So just tread lightly. And I hope that this kind of helps you on your journey of this crazy whiskey world that we're in, because all whiskey is different and all proofs are different. So try it in different proofs. Try it at 40% and see what you think. Little weak, little underwhelming, right? Try it at 50 at bottled and bond strength. See if you like it there. Try it at the cast strength, whatever their cast strength is. And then try a single barrel pick that'll knock your socks off. I tell you to try all of those because you have to find where it fits the best for you. And that's what whiskey's all about, finding something that's going to be good for your palate and your things. Okay, so Hazmat whiskey, in closing, Hazmat whiskey is the unfinished truth, right? It is pure, it is raw, it shows you the soul of the barrel and the liquid that's inside it. So tread lightly, but also sip with intention. And this is not something that you pass around the campfire. I'm sorry, you don't. This is something you take your time with, and this is something that you explore very slowly, and just understanding that each sip explains to you a little more of what's going on in that barrel. So I hope this type of content is something you like. If it is, give me a follow, a like, subscribe. If you would like to get some samples of some Hazmat whiskey, why don't you think about joining the Patreon? Patreon.com/thewhiskeyshaman. I would gladly send you a sample or two. You know how I do. But I hope you enjoyed this. I hope that this is something that intrigues you and it sheds a little more light on what Hazmat whiskey really is. So y'all be good. Make sure you drink water, especially if you're sipping Hazmat. And until next time, keep your spirits up.